Ooh. Yeah.
Why? Welcome back to the Level Up Life. Thanks for joining us. Today's a shift of gears here. We have one of Level Up's new trainers here, Jordan Eckman. Some of you know he's also a podcast editor. So, Jordan, what got you into fitness, man?
I mean, high school sports, right? So, grew up playing sports all the way up through football, basketball mainly. Obviously, with football, you're hitting the weight room regardless. But even through 8th grade, started with like your full body workouts 3 days a week. Did way too much of everything, just trying to progress in some way. And then you get to later high school years. And for me, I wasn't sure career path, but I knew if I had a chance to play in college, something I'd want to do. So I would stalk college rosters at D2, D3 schools. What's your height? What's your body weight? Where they put a lot of rep ranges on there. And I was like, this is where I need to be by the end of my high school career. How do I get there? And so from there, that's what it took off into. And it really led into bodybuilding because you talk about putting size on. I was at a running back position. It's a big piece of that game where it's less of it now when you see the shift to wide receiver, things like that. But anyway, that led me to bodybuilding. And it really just like, how do I put on mass? But ultimately, after that, I had a career path. I was like, there's nothing I'm going to school for. So it just led me into a more general aspect of fitness, doing everything I can, love what I'm doing, getting stronger. And then the biggest thing is just helping people. I nerd out on it. I'm a geek about it because I just can't help but not. Anytime that I see somebody that I feel like I can help, I'm just like, I need to be there. I need to be doing it. Yeah.
That is why you're a perfect fit for the Level Up team.
I love it. Yeah.
So backing it up to early training days.
Sure.
So I've worked with a lot of young people from ages 7, teenagers where they're still developing. There's component, like we're not trying to put mass on them or get them to max out at that point.
Sure.
What we're really focused on is just because at 7 and as you're getting older, your fine motor skills are still in development.
Absolutely.
So it's more about developing those proper movement patterns. And I think it's missed by a lot of like middle school programs that actually have lifting. I think the focus is lift heavy.
Yeah.
Where it would the athletes would benefit from a more refined approach where it's just building solid movement patterns prior to loading weight.
Yeah, and something that I think, like, this isn't every school, but a lot of school systems too, when you look at the number of kids in a program and you look at weight room size, you look at the time they have, most kids are not going to push themselves to be dedicated and really dive in on their own. Here's a coach who, regardless of qualification, is here to lead you in the weight room. And you have, in a lot of cases, 60 kids. You might have 4 squat racks in a decent sized high school gym. And it's all right. Everybody do as much as you can in a minute, or load up as much as you can and just force yourself through it because we don't have time to really get down to the nitty gritty and make sure you're doing it properly. And so bottom line, when you're working with that many people, it's like, how is this really effective? In most cases, it's not. And in order for it to be effective, you have to spend so much time to dive in on your own. And it's just not possible on a large scale like that in high school sports.
From a coach's perspective, I prefer to work with very small groups because then you can really refine the movement instead of, I know I went to my stepson's school years ago and they didn't have a qualified coach teaching weight training.
Yeah.
So, the programming was just pulled off of a college website. What a college is, you can find that stuff, but as far as the execution goes, there were some that it was atrocious where The guidance I gave my stepsons was, I don't want you lifting there because we need to develop these movement patterns before you start throwing weight on. And that was the problem. Some of the coaches were encouraging more weight when the kids, let's just talk a squat, right?
Yeah.
So you know what happens when you load too much weight and then the form starts to break down, the knees start buckling inward. That's
sure. Yep.
Up at the hips.
Yep.
So I seen getting tilted, and it's one of those things where just developing the nervous system, how do I move like this is a benefit.
For sure. And the other piece of that too is you can load an excessive amount of weight under a terrible posture and you might see small strength gains, but regardless, you're loading the wrong muscle anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so even if you think that this is like, it might be more risky, but it's not going to get you any stronger. Right. Bottom line, anything that you're strengthening is not what needs to be strengthened. It's definitely not need to be placed under load in most cases. So learning it properly and then progressing slower in a much more manageable weight, that's still challenging, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like just going to do so much more for you, not even because of the risk factor being lower, but just because you're going to progress more anyway. You're hitting the target muscle way better.
Right.
So, that and college programs too. Obviously, and this goes for any program. What's on there is on there because somebody wrote it in because they knew, either for themselves or for whoever it was for their client, they knew it had a reason to be in that program, right? They had a purpose for each specific movement. There's a reason you're doing it. Their client or them or whoever the program is for is not the same person as whoever you're going to put it in for.
Yep.
And so whenever you don't know why you're doing something, you shouldn't just jump right to doing it.
Right.
You should at least go and say, why am I doing it? And then obviously if it doesn't make any sense for you, just don't, that's not worth your time there.
Omit it, yeah.
Right. And so copy and pasting college programs too, or any program really it's easy for people who don't understand because it's their only logical step. Better to take guidance from somebody who you think does. But a lot of the time, those people with guidance still not going to apply to the people that you're working with because you're two different populations there. So
yeah. So even like the bodybuilding.com programs,
sure.
They're cookie cutter. They don't take into account individual movement patterns. That's why whenever we have a client come in, we do an assessment. We want to learn how the body's moving,
right.
see if there's any specific imbalances. If what do they do good, right? What movements are they proficient at, and then we can build out from there. Where if there's stuff we need to work on, we can still incorporate that. But then, there's progress meter, right?
For sure.
It starts right there, and I think some of these online programs, and this is part of the reason why I set my mind to creating the online side, which is it's almost ready for launch. Stay tuned. Basically, I don't know the trainer's name, and I wouldn't say their name anyway if I knew, but trainer out in California was training an individual in Michigan.
Right.
So the only thing they did was talk over the phone. There was no visual movement check-ins, and they were charging an extreme amount of money per month.
Yeah.
For long, a contract, 18 months or something. So I'm almost offended by it just because it's that individual that's doing that is just literally, it's almost a theft. I feel because they're not offering a quality service. They're potentially going to hurt someone, and they're not going to get that person to their goal.
Yeah.
Maybe by chance they might, but I've worked with some of these people coming from clients or from trainers like that, and it's really frustrating because they don't have questionnaires about injury history. They don't have. They had one person with scoliosis doing back squats, which I take into account scoliosis being if your spine's curved and back squat is a loaded exercise. There needs to be some precautions taken into account, and then basically, like, is that the best exercise for that individual?
Right.
When the cost goes up here, and the benefit is, you're going to benefit here, but ideally, I'd like to see the cost here, benefit here on everything.
Yeah, and that, I mean, I won't say every movement pattern, has a perfect replacement too, but when you look at a squat in general, barbell back squat, right, as we talked about, there are so many squat variations where we can get away from that without loading the spine as much or at all. You think about like a hip belt squat, for example, a lot safer for that when you consider no loading at the shoulders. It's waist below, still obviously core and postural stability needed, but no compression on the disc directly.
Right.
And so many like that's just one example, and that can apply pretty much every body part, every movement that you could have, any pressing variations. There's so many alternatives. And then the issue, like you mentioned, though, is you have one cookie cutter program. And of course, you want to take, if you're picking out a program, you want the best movements, right? A lot of people would say barbell back squat is the best movement for your quads in general. It's going to provide the most benefit. If you are someone with scoliosis, it's not going to be your best movement.
Right.
And so you can't take a cookie cutter approach to every client. It just doesn't work.
Right.
And yeah.
And body structure. So I've worked with people who have shorter torsos, longer femurs, and let's pull up this video. It's from Squat University. I like to show it to clients to really explain why. Right here.
Are you a frustrated member of the long femur club, always leaning forward no matter how hard you try to stay upright? Here's a simple explanation of why.
But what if your femur was ridiculously long compared to this segment right here? Most people with proportions that lean this direction will often say, I can't go any lower. Yet if you check their knee flexion, they have more than that. If you check their hip flexion, they have more than this. But their proportions do not allow them to go any further. If, by contrast, you had someone with proportionally shorter femur, proportionally longer floor to knee, and proportionally longer torso in terms of where they can put the weight, this person can fold up, sit all the way down, and they have no idea why anybody thinks squatting is difficult. This person feels quads more than anything else. Halfway down looks like this to them. And of course, if you don't have any dorsiflexion, it still messes with you. But if I were to have a short trunk and a proportionally long femur and a proportionally short tibia, this person hates squats.
Yeah, so all of that right there are proportions. Play a huge role in what variation of squat do we want to use. And like the sumo squat for the individual I worked with happened to be a better movement for their quads. They were great at lunging too. So where I'm that individual that can get very low easily,
right,
and doesn't mean I squat to that depth, but
right. And that's something else you see too, going back to like weight room examples. When you got all these kids going through the same program, even if you might have the anatomy there, the mobility restrictions based on your progression there at the ankles, hip, whatever it may be. And I feel like that more often than just because obviously people vary on a spectrum from femur length, but from an anatomical standpoint, most people can still get into a safe squat position. I won't say regardless of that, but in spite of that, just dependent, because a lot of it comes down to ankle and hip mobility, and that's a progression of its own. So when you have a ton of kids there, it's not just anatomical differences, it's your joint mobility and stability through all those positions that's going to vary and lead you to that result. And even if somebody from an anatomical standpoint can get there, that progression is important to take into account, because again, when we talked about that, if you can't stabilize under that load, just more risk for injury anyway.
Risk goes up.
Yeah.
Benefit could potentially go down even.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So many factors to consider when picking a movement based on risk to reward, right?
Right.
So much that goes into it. So
yeah. And so I'm I don't squat to past 90 degrees anymore. I used to. You know, the common term I heard years ago, I don't hear it as much now, but ass to the grass.
Yeah.
Like,
it
was everybody had to squat like a power lifter.
Yeah.
Which I talked to some of my youth clients that have, they're competing, their goals are athletically related. And I tell them, well, show me just walk through the position of where's the lowest point of if you were going to jump,
right?
Where you squat.
Yeah.
So if we're trying to develop like a higher vertical, more explosiveness, think of a position that offensive or defensive linemen's in. Right. They're never, like this. They're never at full flexion.
Yep.
There's not necessarily a need to build strength from that full squat position. So I'll have them perform like 90-degree, slow, controlled reps down, explosive up. Yeah. Because that's the goal of an athlete, is to become more explosive.
For sure. And I think that comes in with variation too. Even if you had an athlete that was in that position, you can take the core of your work, of your working sets too, and have them go to that position. And maybe for a warm up or for a deload, you go to something below 50% of a 1 rep, and then you work at a longer range, if you ever wanted to, just to even see if that's something of interest, how they feel in that position. But it's not going to translate as much, right? And it's not going to hurt necessarily, right? And so like just testing that, seeing where they stand on that isn't a bad idea. But again, putting all your time and effort into that, especially with your working sets, just doesn't make sense.
Right.
So absolutely, yeah.
And then usually the athletic young population who are competing in sports, their joint health is a little bit better. So when we're talking like older clients, I look at what is functional for this individual. Are they, doing a deep squat? I encourage people to, as more of like a yoga position. And then also like what's functional for if you have a 78-year-old client, where do they need to build strength up, right? Yeah. And it's more of just like getting up and down from a chair without having to use their hands.
Yep.
So
for sure. Yeah. Translation is everything. When you think about the movement patterns you're choosing, how is this really going to affect me day to day? Why are we doing it? That's, again, bring it up.
The why,
The why is so big, because then it tells you, okay, if I need to get up out of a chair, I know what I need to work on. I know from a muscular standpoint, I know positions I need to work on. What movement is going to translate best with the least risk to reward in my scenario to bring me that achievement, to then bring me that result in lifetime. So
to benefit my functionality in life.
Yeah. And so like we had talked before too about when you see people in a gym and you think, oh man, their form must be spotty. This isn't exactly how I would do it. And you just don't understand what they're doing or why they're doing it. And a lot of times there's very obvious tells whether it's putting them at risk too. So, form breakdown from a risk standpoint is different. But just because somebody's doing a movement different than you doesn't mean it's the wrong movement too.
Right, exactly. And that gets into gym culture.
Right.
We'll come back to that. But so as a trainer, when I first got into the business, I was like gun ho, wanted to help everyone, and I realized most people in the gym, they don't want advice. Yeah. So if it's unsolicited and I'm just offering up the knowledge that I know, I don't know what their background is. I don't know what their goal is, which is like what you were just saying. So when I look in the gym now and I see maybe someone's doing partials of something or whatever it may be, like I automatically start running through the process. I wonder what their goal is. And like, I wonder what sort of restrictions they have, or is there an injury history that doesn't allow them full range of motion, or,
for sure,
so those are all factors too.
Yeah. Something that I see too, anytime that I've ever noticed a person, whether I have known them before, any background on who they are, what they train for. If I ever see something that I think I would probably do that differently based on what I can contextually pick up about what they're trying to do, I go up and say, can I ask why you're doing it this way? Like what, putting yourself from a learner's perspective, because it's not accusatory. Right. You know, even if you might think you know better, it's still like, help me learn, right? So like, walk me through why you're doing this. What benefit is this bringing you? And just really listen to what they have to say, because most often too, they'll know, even if they don't know exactly why they're doing it or what's going on. They know, well, I've heard this and this, and I know I shouldn't do it this way, so I decided to do it this way, and for whatever reason, right? So like based on their goals. So, you know, from an athlete's perspective too, if you walk into a gym and you see an athlete only squatting to quarter depth, and you say, can I ask why you're not going to full depth? They might say, oh, well, you know, I've heard the term, like, I don't need to be going all the way down when I'm in a sport. And, you know, same thing there. They might not know how that affects the results from a scientific perspective, but they still understand principles that they've heard.
Right.
And so then from that point, you can contextually pick up on their goal, right? It's like, it makes sense for them. And obviously, you might not take that and apply it to your training principle,
right? But
you still understand the context, and there's no need for correction necessarily.
And you might have someone that applies to down the road. You know, I like the learning perspective, right? And kind of that approach where it's not confrontational, because, I mean, the gym we train at is really chill, you know. Yeah. But there's some other gyms where, like watching, you've seen the Joey Swole videos where people get pretty hostile. There's fights that break out. I've seen videos of fights. I've seen just people getting irritated with each other based for some reason. And ultimately what we're all trying to do while we're in the gym is just get better, trying to not be cliche or anything. We're trying to level up, right? We're trying to just get better than we were yesterday. So I like what he's doing with as far as bringing light to gym culture.
Sure. Yeah. No, perspective is everything. Every day, again, it's just another opportunity to grow. So anytime that I see that too, it is like, oh man, maybe I'm missing out on something, especially when I see something that I've never seen at all, not just a variation of something that I have seen. So yeah, I mean, knowledge is power when you're going through that, looking for every little piece, every little crumb you can get to really push yourself, and that's how progression adds up. So absolutely have to take that into account.
Now let's take a moment to thank our sponsors, Pine Haven Assisted Living. At Pine Haven Assisted Living, they believe in making every resident feel at home. Nestled in the peaceful countryside of Hemlock, Michigan, they offer compassionate care in a family-like environment where residents can enjoy independence with the support they need. Registered nurse-owned and operated, their team provides personalized care, home-cooked meals, and a range of activities to ensure your loved ones continue to live a fulfilling life. They also have alpacas and llamas on site to enrich the lives of their residents. Experience the warmth and comfort of Pine Haven. Call them today at 989-295-6632. That's 989-295-6632. Or you can visit them on their website at pinehavenassistedliving.com. That's pinehavenassistedliving.com for more information. Now, back to the Level Up Life. So, let's pull up some gym fails.
Let's do it. What do we got?
Oh, this is going to be bad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Get it!
Cat back.
Get it! Go!
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, he'd be getting a red light at us. Oh, yeah.
That's how you get herniated.
Ooh. Yep.
That's why I use clips going back to the other one.
Yeah.
That bar, that person, there's certain situations I don't use clips. Like if I'm barbell pressing.
Sure.
By myself, because there's a safety behind that. But that individual in that one video, if you have the weight, it happened to me at a deadlift in, what was it? Beyond Limits in Columbus, Ohio. I didn't use clips. The weight started sliding. It looked like that's what happened to that person. The weight started sliding off of one side, and then what happens? It pops back up.
Yep.
And then this other person probably had a crushed skull or concussion or something. It's serious injury.
Yeah. When you think about perspective too, spatial awareness in a gym, something I see, especially in a crowded gym, a lot of commercial places too, where you'll see that. It's a scary thing. But when you're working with loads that, again, you're challenging your total body to muscular failure, it's like these are deadly forces too when you're not careful. So absolutely, it's scary to see.
All right, let's go back. This is the one right here.
Yeah.
Oh, that was an equipment failure.
Yeah. Ooh. Road rash. Ooh. Yeah.
Why?
The reaction.
Yeah.
It just does something to you.
Yeah. The added, I'm sure it didn't sound like that in person, but that
was not needed. It's hard to watch.
And that's one of those things, like, I look at that with a barbell. She was pretty high up.
Yep.
Might have been at the limit of her range of motion even. And what added benefit does she have that she couldn't do? I mean, a lunge, like I personally wouldn't have her do that.
But again, what is she trying to? Is she doing?
She's doing a step up.
Just a step up and down because she starts from a double position too. Yeah, it's a big jump, a lot of added weight too.
Yep.
And that's something that obviously could just be a misstep. You roll an ankle.
Yeah.
But even from that perspective,
there's the still.
Yeah. Going from, you look at that other leg too, and that positioning there.
Yep.
You'd think you'd want to take that with a little bit slower tempo, especially with a barbell where you can't just drop the weight easily.
Yep.
Slowing that pace down
makes it a little bit safer.
A lot more sense, and that's rough though.
Yep.
Get up, get up.
Another cat back.
Yeah, there it is. Nice.
This is where he passes out.
Well, and still,
I've seen that before.
The screaming too.
The face plant.
Yep. And even though, like, obviously now after that point, he's not as confident, but seeing that lift, he gets up and that reaction hurts because the fact that you're now reinforcing a bad posture movement.
Yeah.
And you think it's progression. It's just hard to watch.
And I've done that. Luckily, not well. Probably what led to him passing out was full holding his breath. So that's where you get into big lifts like that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to work on those breathing techniques before you hold your breath while you're
Get up.
There's no breathing there.
Yeah.
There
I think
this is where his air starts sparkling.
Yeah. Breathing
He's
technique and holding your breath.
Out.
Two different things. I wonder if like history too with blood pressure is an issue too, because obviously breathing and bracing is recommended, but doing it properly, not just holding your breath. Because with that postural standpoint too, there wasn't a whole lot of bracing there.
Nope.
So, yeah. Just making the best use of what you got, right?
Yep.
Don't have a bag. Let's just.
You know what? Even some of those out of the box, right? Videos, like I look at that and I think of this person's loving life.
Yep.
They don't care what anybody thinks about them.
Yep.
And they're at the gym.
Yep.
Right?
That's true.
I mean, there's so many good things like he could have been on a rest interval, just like boxing the ropes, that type of stuff. I think
you would probably catch me at least 1 or 2 times. I mean, yeah, we've all done it, right? It's a speed bag. Let's just be real.
Yep, speed bag. Yep.
Ooh,
yeah, that hurts my neck and back.
This, I just immediately know that's your weight room. And as extreme as that looks, that is very typical. Like, seeing some of the faces you'll see too. Whenever you see a school posting it too, and they're out there all proud about their work, and you see in the clips
the kids are working.
You see that face, that posture. It's just like you're promoting that. That hurts.
That tells you that they don't necessarily know what they're doing. I would never load that much weight on someone if their form looked like that, because then like we talked, risk to benefit ratio, the benefit is now going way down, and the risk is significantly higher.
Absolutely. Oh wow,
that's a major cat bag.
Yeah. I'm glad he didn't get that. Don't. I'm gonna try again.
Yeah, so that right there too, when you start a deadlift, there should never be, you want tension on the arms. Right. You don't want to jerk it like that ever.
Just ripping the bar out, forcing yourself to work against your own momentum. You're forcing your own momentum against your own posture as soon as that weight pulls you back.
Exactly.
You need to brace that, start from zero momentum, work through so you're not fighting yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
See, this is an example of, so this individual is courageous.
Yep.
But they probably just don't have an understanding of what to do in the gym.
And when I see that too, again, you have cuffs there, doing cable kickback. You've likely seen somebody doing it. You don't know how to execute or why they're executing it. So then when you're not getting a result, or you're getting any result, you don't know if it's the right one anyway.
Right.
So you're going to continue to do it until someone corrects you. You find out the hard way if it's not the right result, depending on the movement. Absolutely. Just, again, being in there, though, it's the most important thing. So,
yeah.
Oh, no.
This sketches me on those.
Oh, that could have been so much worse.
On a stability ball is just asking for it to
If you rewind and look where that dumbbell lands, too.
Those are 120s?
Yeah. That left dumbbell right there, it's on the ankle, but then if you right there, landing right in between was lucky. Yeah. But man, anything and with the ball too, if one of those dumbbells hits it, drops on that ball, it's going out somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's where like being around other people for something like that too is,
you gotta trust that ball isn't like 4 or 5 years old or something.
Has a little micro tear.
You figure that guy's probably at least 180 to 220, somewhere in that range.
Probably.
So you add in another 240.
Yep.
Those, I wouldn't personally trust a stability ball for that, because that's how when that thing blows and you go down with those up here, say goodbye to your shoulder joint.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
Oh,
he's getting it how he can.
On the toe, though. Did you see that? Rewind that. It zooms in on his toe here with that propane tank.
Ooh. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people understand that on the machines or on these, if your back isn't flush,
that's true,
against the backrest, like let's say you slide in the seat, kind of like I'm sitting here where my butt's up in the middle of the chair instead of flush like this, what can happen? So you slide down a little bit. Let's say you load 1,000 pounds on this leg press, and all that compression is going to go through the legs into the lower spine.
Yep. Forcing their rounding.
That's how herniated discs happen. You wake up, you do, and maybe some of you out there have done a leg press a little bit, you challenge yourself, it's heavy. The next morning you're like, I wonder why my back hurts.
Yep.
It can be because you just slide a little bit too far down in the seat where you come forward on the butt rest, and that's a really unknown. I feel like as the average gym goer doesn't really understand that component.
Sure.
So
yeah, absolutely. Because it's not emphasized too, and just depends on the type of leg press, but rooting your butt into that pad, those handles are there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
If you are doing it right, you should be using them to some degree, because that weight is going to force you out of that seat into a rounded spinal position. So
yeah, and just like you said, the leg press in general does give you a little bit of a false sense of strength. It's ego, whatever it is that, I mean, because I've done like 1,200 pounds.
Right.
I've never lifted even. I've trap bar deadlifted over 600.
Yep.
I've never squatted even into the 5s.
Yep.
So we're talking like weight that I could control at some point in my life, managed in a safe way, was what, a third of what I did on the leg press. So that's where that, and there's a place for it, but
yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of danger with it too. There's some gym fail videos that I always talk to people about. I'll joke with clients, and Lola will tell you. I mean, you've seen the video of when people extend their legs.
Oh,
they
lock
don't keep.
out.
They don't. Yeah, they lock out.
They lock out in the
They don't
knees.
keep soft knees.
Yeah.
They fully lock out. They might just have a little bit too much fatigue in the leg, and it folds them the wrong way.
Yeah.
So that's one point I always make with people.
Yep.
Don't lock out your knees at any point while you have a load on the leg press.
I see a lot of it too, and a lot of it will come down to injury, or if there's any prior injury or issue there. But then the speed at which you lock out to, if you come to a fully straightened position here, chances are you're not going to do it as long as you're not snapping.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also no added benefit to doing so.
Right.
And so you're just loading the joints, like you said, and you'll know if you ever get close, there's almost like a cramp where you can tense up and feel it. You'll know it's not a place you want to be. So,
well, thank you for tuning in. Everybody give Jordan a warm welcome to the team, and we'll talk soon. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share with your friends, share with your family, share with your coworkers, share with strangers, share with anybody, please. Thanks for tuning in.